Hey there, everyone. It's Pistol Gaming 007 or Lean Cuisine the Rapper here with another video. Now, I recorded this before, but I figured I'd do it in live stream format. So, there is an FSR3 frame gen mod going around, and there are multiple YouTube channels spreading pirated files that are infected, that grab your system information, that hijack every file on your computer, and they will target specific files, especially if they're clean, like legitimate versions of these tools to unlock your hardware. And we need to talk about what this mod is before we get into it. So, there's something called hardware unlocking, and it's not through a VBIOS. And this is important to know what's going on. Okay. Instead of the VBIOS, here's what here's what it is. Now, the whole marketing on these NVIDIA cards is CUDA cores. It's a lie. Because unlocking the hardware entails that you are unbuffering the graphics card so it can actually run at the speed it's supposed to. It's not on a buffer. It's not cut in half in terms of speed. You're simultaneously streaming all the frames as you would a movie. That's what this FSR3 frame gen mod is. It's a software liar. It tells the software to stop locking these features that NVIDIA do not want you to use because they want you to have a 40 series or a 50 series. And the thing with the 50 series is they're melting. The wrong parts are put inside of these cards. The cards are cracking. They're not good. Even the 50 series, $5,000 for a 50 series card. That's just as bad as the 40 series. It's a gimmick. It's a lie. Frame generation works on from the 1080 to the 1050. It works on so many GTX cards, it's unbelievable. If you look at the Fallout 3 Intel bypass file, you can run Fallout 3 on the maximum settings on a dual core tablet. You can do that. You lied to the game. And the game runs the way it's supposed to run. The developers didn't want you to run it at the full capacity. They wanted you to buy a new graphics card. Stop falling for the shit. It's that simple. NVIDIA's full of greed. They're only marketing the 40 series with FrameGen. In my opinion, if you're using FrameGen on a 40 series playing Call of Duty, you should be banned. You should not be allowed to play the game. Use something that everybody has access to, not something that only some people have access to. That's pay to win. And for the people that will say, well, I have more money, I should be able to fucking... You're just as bad as the people with the Chronos. You're just as bad as the people who actually use a fucking macro cheater. They plug into their console or they plug into their computer if it's a PlayStation that you own the game on, and then they remote play it on their computer and they cheat with their fucking Chronos on their computer, plug in the PS4 controller and they cheat. Yeah, okay, you're just as bad as those people if you're using FrameGen on an online game. Frames don't really matter that much. Okay? What matters is getting the most out of your graphics card. A stable 60 FPS, 1080p is fine. Anyone who says anything different is spoiled and they think that people need to buy the top tier shit just to enjoy their gaming experience. You don't need it. Okay? 4K is worthless. 8K is worthless. Ray tracing is worthless. Path tracing is worthless. It's all worthless. And these newer cards, they're not built properly. The older cards have better quality. These newer cards don't. So they're a waste of money. Don't buy the 40 series. Don't buy the 50 series. If you're going to buy something, get the 30 series because at least those were built properly. and they can use FrameGen with FSR 3, which is way better than what NVIDIA has. How the FSR 3 mod works is it replaces the FrameGen from NVIDIA with AMD. That's what it does. So everyone can access FrameGen. Even Call of Duty put FSR 3 on cards that NVIDIA was so fucking stupid to not let use FrameGen. Their own proprietary brand, they do not want using the feature. Dumb fucks. Dumb fucks. When you download an infected version of one of these mods that you don't pay for, if we're talking the Patreon ones, and if you're downloading one from the Nexus, it's still infected. You're still infecting yourself. Here's what these infected mods do. Connects to the internet when offline, infects system and files, and hides. Uses ASPack to hide the code from the stolen mod. And people using AMD's FSR on Nexus on their network, from their network to insert viral code into systems, that's real. That's happening. Here's a story from someone who did get infected. This came from Nukem's DLSSG to FSR3 FrameGen mod. This is a story from someone who did get infected. This is their words. Mod was installed. FSR3 claimed to be for one game, Cyberpunk 2077. After playing Cyberpunk 2077 during the game, said user got up to get a drink and tripped over their LAN cable, pulling their PC offline. They rebooted the PC on coming back to continue the game to find it was locked up frozen. They rebooted the PC only to see that the screen was on their desktop. The same screen they initially got upon activating the FSR3 file. It's saying it could not connect. The internet wasn't connected, but it's still trying to access the internet. Now, you got to think about this. Nothing should be doing that on your computer. That's what I have to say about that, but we're going to continue here. Said user looked and saw this and pulled the LAN cable out of the modem. Just as they decided to plug it back in, they stopped dead cold in their tracks and stared at the screen. They disconnected the game drive to prevent the data from going out. Any internet traffic, anything, any data, system information, anything. They set the firewall to stop the outgoing information that was being sent out by the game. They cleaned and rebooted their system. They cleaned out the system and rebooted it, and they did it like I said. They saved the screens. They inspected the files in question. They ran anti-malware. They found a very nasty Trojan. And here's where this comes in. I'm the guy that asked for an FSR3 FrameGen mod to be created. And the one that was created was built on AMD cards, but it works with GTX and RTX. So here it goes. I asked a friend, a software developer, if she could replicate DLSSG to FSR3 for the Cyberpunk 2077 game, and she did it, and it's clean with no bugs. AMD Fidelity was used to create it live in front of me while she streamed the production as it was. She had a similar program for NVIDIA she was working on for the same game. She told me that the mod was not really designed to run on a GTX or an RTX card, but it runs anyway, which is what entices people to want to use this mod. Okay? This software developer gave the mod to a publisher, Luke FC. People are trying to impersonate him. People are stealing his work, and he put his work behind it. He put his version with his trademark behind a paywall. $5, $10. If you can't afford that, go fuck yourself. If you're going to sit there and steal his mod and you're going to infect it and you're going to infect other people with links on YouTube videos, you are a scumbag. And believe it or not, there's people that defend this shit. There's a YouTube channel called Gaming and Fix, and they have actually capitalized and taken advantage of people who just want their graphics cards to actually operate the way they were supposed to before NVIDIA decided to tell all of the games, all of the developers and all of the games that were coming out to lock your card. So you had to buy a new one. If you didn't like the performance you were getting, oh, just get a new one. Don't use what you currently have to your full potential. Just get a new one. That's bullshit. So I call out Gaming and Fix, who's spreading infected links, infected files. It infects your browser. And then if you have clean files and you want to compare clean files to dirty, infected files, guess what? It infects the clean files you have through the browser. That's how these people operate. And the scumbag banned me from his server because I called him out. That is the most concise explanation you're going to get from me. Okay? I'm the dude. I'm the guy that the mob was originally made for. And look at what people have done with it. Used it to manipulate, take advantage, and steal people's information. You have something good in this world, and guess what people do? They use it for evil. When it's supposed to be used to tell NVIDIA to stop pushing garbage 40 series and 50 series cards that melt and are of horrible build quality. So there you go. Check for file sizes and dates, scan with virus total, and be vigilant, because you got people out there that literally have built a whole channel based on infecting people. And it's not just Gaming and Fix doing it. Not just Gaming and Fix. And I'm going to tag that motherfucker too. It's other people too. And if those other people are getting the files from these people, they need to be aware, if they're not purposely infecting people, to stop. So I've said what I had to say. Y'all have a good one. And stay safe. Nexus will take down anything that offends the woke crowd, but they won't take down viral files. You can't even share your own INI configuration for a game if you haven't been on the Nexus for so long as they want you to be on there. they'll say you're spreading a virus. But when there's an actual virus, they don't give a shit. Same guy who owns the Nexus owns all of the biggest modding websites. His name's Scott. Look into him. He's a criminal and he's a scumbag. Mod Organizer 2, here's a bonus thing I'll throw in here. Mod Organizer 2 spies on you. Different IPs will connect to you when you use Mod Organizer 2 and you don't block outgoing traffic. Scott knows about this. Scott knows that a lot of the tools on the Nexus are infected. He knows that they're leaking data out to IPs that shouldn't be getting your data, but he does nothing. So, word of the wise, do your research before you go do some stupid shit. Lean Cuisine out.